back to my channel. Let's learn together. So, today we will be solving session 6 of science exercise book of class 9. So, let's see what this session is talking about. This is the table that we have to complete in session 6, and before that, you can see another table which is already fulfilled. So, we can discuss about it a little bit before doing the next table. All right, so let's see what this talks about. The discussion has been done about how pollutants spread in the air. But what are the causes of air pollution? Which substances, when present in the air, lead to air pollution? How are these substances generated? That means from doing the other activities or by reading investigative study book, probably we have understood that how pollutants spread in the air. We know that pollutants spread, or any sort of gaseous particles or particles of other states of matter are spread in the air in which ways? Through diffusion or effusion, right? Now, what's the thing that causes air pollution then? Obviously, these pollutants, when they mix up with the air which is present in our atmosphere, for example, if it reacts with oxygen in the atmosphere at that time, it produces oxides, right? And those oxides, those are basically the things that are causing air pollution. Okay, then which substances present in the air lead to air pollution? That means what kind of element, let's say carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, these are the gases or air particles that are causing air pollution, right? So there are some more particles, substances there as well. Then how are these substances generated? That means how are these harmful pollutants generated? So in this whole table you can see that air pollutants and type of matter, that means these are the name of some of the most popular air pollutants, and this is the description about each of these pollutants. For example, what's their characteristic and how they are released or how they are generated. So let's see. Matter particles. One of the air pollutants is matter particles, one of the major contributors of air pollution associated with various health risks. That means this is one of the biggest contributors, or it holds the most responsibility for air pollution, and it poses a lot of health risks. These substances include compounds such as sulfate and nitrate, ammonia, sodium chloride, carbon, dart particles, and water vapor. So these are the substances that that are known as matter particles. And then carbon monoxide, colorless, tasteless, and odorless toxic gases primarily derived from carbon-based fuels are released due to combustion. That means when these gases are released from factories, that time they react with the oxygen that's present in the atmosphere, and we know that when any gas, let's say, reacts with oxygen, that time we call it combustion, right? So these pollutants like carbon monoxide, it reacts with oxygen in the atmosphere due to combustion, and then produces oxides which basically act as the air pollutants. Then nitrogen dioxide. This harmful gas is primarily produced from vehicle exhaust and industrial factories. That means the air, or the harmful air that comes out of factories or vehicles, those similarly they go through combustion and produce this pollutant. Then sulfur dioxide, colorless gas but with a strong odor. That means these gases are colorless, sulfur dioxide, but it has a very strong smell. They are usually produced by burning fossil fuels. Okay. Now let's see what's the next thing. There are two models for the structure of an atom: the Rutherford model and the Bohr model. Discuss these two models in detail with your group. If you encounter any difficulties in understanding, don't hesitate to seek assistance from your teacher. That means in your investigative study book, you have come to know about the two atomic models. Okay, what is atomic model basically? Atomic model is a sort of model or a representation of how the particles of an atom are structured, or in what sort of arrangement they are in any atom. Okay, this is atomic model. Now throughout the time, okay, in different years, Many scientists have given their own hypothesis on atomic models, and among those, the two most famous and the two most regarded atomic models were proposed by Rutherford and Bohr. Rutherford's atomic model is the one that specifies the idea of nucleus. That means the positive charge that is present in the exact center of an atom. This is the idea that was specified by the Rutherford model. This model is also known as solar model because it was very familiar, or it was a lookalike of the solar model. However, this concept was later proved wrong because, look, in an atom there are charged particles, but in the solar model, or in case of the solar system, the planets or the sun, they are not charged, right? They are chargeless. So that's why we cannot compare the atomic model with a solar model. That's the reason. And another limitation of Rutherford model could be the fact that Rutherford, he did not specify the characteristics of electrons or the arrangement of electrons, or he those said that electrons are negatively charged and they circular, or they move around the nucleus in a circular orbit, but he did not specify anything else about the orbits, their structure, their radius, or anything specific about electrons. However, that thing was fulfilled or satisfied in the Bohr model. Scientist Bohr, he included the concepts of quantum mechanics in his atomic model, and then he specified the different important things regarding electrons. Okay, that what, how many electrons will be present in the orbits. The orbits are fixed, then what is their radius? Okay, how many orbits there could be? That means the all the necessary descriptions regarding electrons especially was given in Bohr model. So now what our work is that we have to fill this entire table. Okay, by look, in this column, some questions have been given, that what is the basic idea of the Rutherford model about the arrangement of particles within an atom? Then what is the basic idea of the Bohr model about the arrangement of particles within an atom? Then what is the basic difference between these two models? That means in this whole table, they asked for your opinion on what the basic ideas of both models were and what is the difference between them. So you just have to explain that and write it over here. I have already given the answer to the questions. You can see that the main idea of Rutherford model about the arrangement of atoms is that the electrons with negative charge rotate around the positive charge of the center due to its attractive force. That is, the electrons are moving in different orbits around the nucleus. This model is called solar system model or solar model in comparison with the solar system. Okay, so as you can see here, that he told that some negatively charged particles, which are known as electrons, they revolve around the positively charged center due to the attraction force. We know that as per electromagnetic force, the particles which are oppositely charged, they attract each other, right? So as the center is positively charged and electrons are negatively charged, so obviously the center or the nucleus is going to attract those electrons around it, right? That will make the electrons revolve around specific orbits uh, surrounding the nucleus, right? And that nucleus consists of positive charge because of the protons that are present in it, and also the neutrons. Okay, and this model was compared with the solar system model, but this concept was later on proved to be wrong, because we cannot compare a chargeless planet with a charged particle, right? That's the reason. And then this is the description of the Bohr model, that the electrons in the atom cannot revolve around the nucleus in any desired orbit, but only in a number of selected circular orbits of a certain radius. Electrons do not absorb or radiate any energy while moving in these stable orbits. That means, as I said, that he specified the idea about electrons, that yes, electrons are negatively charged, but what else? How is it going to revolve? In what paths is it going to revolve? What are the structure of those paths? Then is it going to be fixed or not? So in the Bohr model, these things have been explained. Bohr said that the electrons, they revolve in a specified orbit, a fixed orbit that has a specific energy level. This orbit can also be called as energy shell or energy level. And again, these orbits have got some subshells within them, which can be called as orbitals. Okay, orbitals are basically the areas within an orbit. It can also be called the secondary energy level, where there are higher possibilities of finding electrons. That I hope that you have already seen it in your investigative study book. So whatever, the main thing is that those fixed orbits, their energy level is fixed. That means the electrons which will be in that specific orbit, they will not radiate or absorb any energy while moving around that, while moving, staying within that orbit, because its energy is already specified. Okay, ইলেকট্রনরা যেই অরবিটে রিভলভ করবে সেই অরবিটের একটা ফিক্সড এনার্জি লেভেল থাকবে, অ্যান্ড ওর স্ট্রাকচারটাও ফিক্সড হবে। ওর সেন্টারের থেকে যে রেডিয়াসটা বা ওই নিউক্লিয়াস থেকে যে ডিস্টেন্সটা সেটা ফিক্সড হবে। ও কোনোভাবে বড় হবে হবে না, আর কোনোভাবে ছোটও হবে না। ঠিক আছে? অ্যান্ড while revolving the electrons will not absorb or radiate any energy. ওকে, while in a stable condition, কিন্তু এমন যদি হয় যে এই ইলেকট্রনগুলোকে বা অ্যাটমটাকে বাইরে থেকে হিট এনার্জি প্রোভাইড করা হচ্ছে, দেন কি হবে, এই ইলেকট্রনগুলো সেই এনার্জিকে অ্যাবজর্ব করবে। অ্যাবজর্ব করার কারণে কি হবে, ওদের মধ্যে এনার্জিটা যেহেতু ইনক্রিজ হবে, দ্যাট মিনস ওরা তখন ওদের যে হায়ার এনার্জি লেভেলটা সেটাই জাম্প করবে। জাম্প করে টেম্পোরারিলি সেখানে থাকবে কিছুক্ষণ, তারপরে আবারও এনার্জিটা রেডিয়েট করে ওরা ওদের নিজেদের অরবিটে ফেরত চলে আসবে। এটার জন্য আমরা এটার জন্য স্পেকট্রাল লাইন্স বা একটা স্পেসিফিক লাইট রে এমিট হয়, যেটাকে স্পেকট্রা বলা হয়। বেসিক্যালি যখন ইলেকট্রনসটা ওই যে হায়ার এনার্জি লেভেলে গিয়ে আবার নিজেদের এনার্জি লেভেলে ব্যাক করে, ডিউ টু রেডিয়েটিং অ্যাওয়ে দি এনার্জি দ্যাট দে হ্যাড অ্যাবসর্বড আর্লিয়ার, due to that radiation, some specific light rays are emitted, which are known as spectra. তো বোর মডেলে এই যে স্পেকট্রাল লাইন্স বা স্পেকট্রা সম্পর্কেও ধারণা দেয়া হয়েছে, যেটা রাদারফোর্ডে একদমই দেয়া হয়নি। ঠিক আছে, দো স্পেকট্রা রিলেটেড কিছু লিমিটেশনস ছিল, বাট স্টিল বোর মডেল কিন্তু সেটা নিয়ে আমাদের অ্যাটলিস্ট একটা বেসিক আইডিয়া প্রোভাইড করতে পেরেছে। দেন হোয়াট ইজ দি বেসিক ডিফারেন্স বিটুইন দিস টু মডেলস, সেটা এখানে লেখা হয়েছে যে the Rutherford model could not explain spectra of atoms. The Bohr model could. ঠিক আছে, যেটা আমি বললাম স্পেকট্রা মানে the transition of electrons from their own energy levels to a higher energy level due to absorbing energy, but that would not be permanent. That would be something totally temporary. Okay, then the Rutherford model does not give any idea about the size and shape of the electron's orbit, but the Bohr's model did. That means বোর্ডস মডেলে কিন্তু এই যে ইলেকট্রনের যে অরবিট গুলো, এনার্জি লেভেলস গুলো, সাবশেলস গুলো, সেটার স্ট্রাকচার সম্পর্কে এক্সাক্ট আইডিয়া দেয়া হয়েছে, যেটা রাদারফোর্ড মডেলে দেয়া হয়নি। While the Rutherford model cannot explain the angular momentum of electrons, the Bohr model can. Angular momentum is a very, it could be a new term. Let's see what this means. Angular momentum basically means that we know that the electrons, they basically rotate around the nucleus, right, in fixed orbits, in fixed energy levels, or in fixed sub energy levels. So what is their angle while revolving, বা ওরা স্পেসিফিক্যালি কোন প্যাথে ওদের রোটেশনটা হয়, ওরা ওরা কিভাবে রোটেট করে, সেই রিলেটেড সেই রিলেটেড আইডিয়াস গুলো বোর মডেল থেকে পাওয়া যায়, যেটা রাদারফোর্ড মডেলের ক্ষেত্রে আমরা করতে পারি না। তারপরে while the Rutherford atomic model could not explain the stability of the atom, the Bohr model could. আমি যেমনটা বলছিলাম যে রাদারফোর্ড মডেলে কিন্তু নিউক্লিয়াসের বিষয়টা স্পেসিফাই করা হয়েছে, যে নিউক্লিয়াসে পজিটিভ চার্জ থাকে, বাট দি ইলেকট্রনস অর দি নেগেটিভলি চার্জড পার্টিকেল দ্যাট রিভলভস অ্যারাউন্ড ইট, সেটা নিয়ে বেশি কিছু বলা হয়নি, জাস্ট বলা হয়েছে যে the negatively charged particle revolves around the nucleus. Then later on, another scientist, Maxwell, he proposed a theory that if any charged particle revolves around a specific center, then that charged particle slowly radiates away its energy while revolving in that circular orbit, and its orbit keeps shrinking, and at one point that charged particle would fall into the center or into the nucleus. মানে যখন একটা চার্জড পার্টিকেল মানে either it could be negatively charged or positively charged, but in case of atoms, the electrons, that means the negatively charged particle moves, right? সো মুভ করার সময় ম্যাক্সওয়েল যেটা বলেছে, যে একটা চার্জড পার্টিকেলের যদি কোনো ফিক্সড অরবিট না থাকে, দ্যাট মিনস ও মুভ করতে করতে একটা সময় ওর ওর এনার্জি কি হবে, রেডিয়েট হতে থাকবে, মানে এনার্জি আস্তে আস্তে কমতে থাকবে। ঠিক আছে, কমতে কমতে অ্যাট ওয়ান পয়েন্ট ইট উইল ফল ইনটু দি নিউক্লিয়াস, দ্যাট উড কজ এ গ্রেট ইনস্টেবিলিটি ইন দি নিউক্লিয়াস অ্যান্ড দাস অ্যাটমস উড নট বি স্টেবল। কিন্তু এটা তো হয় না, আমরা তো দেখি যে অ্যাটমস স্টেবল, তাই না? তো সেটার জন্য বেসিক্যালি রাদারফোর্ডস অ্যাটমিক মডেলটাকে এইসব দিক থেকে পার্শিয়ালি কারেক্ট বলা হয়েছে, জাস্ট বিকজ ও নিউক্লিয়াসের আইডিয়াটা স্পেসিফাই করতে পেরেছে। বাট এই সব দিকগুলো যে অ্যাটম মানে ইলেকট্রনের মুভমেন্টটা, ইলেকট্রনের স্ট্রাকচার, ঠিক আছে, এই জিনিসগুলো স্পেসিফাই করতে পারেনি। অলসো ম্যাক্সওয়েলস থিওরিকে ও স্যাটিসফাই করেনি, দ্যাটস ওয়াই ইট ওয়াজ প্রুভড টু বি পার্শিয়ালি কারেক্ট। ঠিক আছে, all right, I think that's it. You have picked up the writings from here. So that's all for today's video. I hope you found this video informative. And if that is so, then please like, share, and subscribe. And if you need any sort of improvements in these videos, then let me know in the comment section. For today, goodbye. We will meet in the next video.